So hey there, absolutely nobody. This is the first episode of Stupid Slayer. I may make a video a little later on, a bit about myself and what I think, but today I just want to dive straight in there. I watched this video earlier today, and this is what's inspired me to actually start doing this that I've been umming and ahhing about for months. So thank you, Cenk Uger.
Now there's something called the Hamilton electors. These are the people in the Electoral College. If you don't know, there's literal electors in the Electoral College, and they get together and cast their votes. And some of them are saying, well, I'm not going to vote for Trump. Not going to do it under any circumstances.
I can't believe that this is what counts as up-to-date news to the Young Turks. I live in the UK, obviously, listen to my voice, and this was something that was published, I believe on the BBC website, but it may have been somewhere else, about 3 weeks ago. How do the Americans not know about this yet?
So I'll break it all down for you in a sec. First, I want you to know that there's a website already for this, HamiltonElectors.com. Okay, and they explain why they call it Hamilton electors. Why is that? They say the electors are honoring Alexander Hamilton's vision that the Electoral College should, when necessary, act as a constitutional failsafe against those lacking the qualifications from becoming presidents. This is actually a very interesting point, whether you agree or disagree. Now, Donald Trump says, I lost the popular vote. Now, he has his excuses, but everybody on his side acknowledges that he did. He lost it by 2.6 million votes. And so, and now it's over 2% of a lead for Hillary Clinton.
On this point, Cenk is absolutely correct. However, it's entirely irrelevant. The rules of the competition that Mr. Trump was involved in determined the winner by who had the most college electoral votes, not by who won the popular vote. The popular vote is completely irrelevant. The candidates will have invested their time and effort in campaigning in areas which they thought they were likely to win due to the electoral college system. So, to look at the vote overall, when the system is set up to determine the winner by the electoral college votes, is entirely disingenuous. It really doesn't matter. And Cenk is creating what we like to call a straw man. He's going to set it up so that he can set it on fire.
So if we had a real functioning democracy where whoever got more votes was president, it would be Hillary Clinton.
Cenk, you do have a real functioning democracy. Well, kind of functioning if you take the money thing away. It's just the rules aren't the ones that you have decided you want them to be after the fact. You can't decide to change the rules once the competition has been run.
We don't. We have this insane thing called the Electoral College. And because of the way that the states are divvied up in the Electoral College, Donald Trump is the president-elect.
The way the states are divvied up into electoral college will also have affected how the campaigners campaigned, how people in those areas voted. You yourselves many times discussed whether you could or couldn't vote for Hillary because you consider the place that you live to be a safe place for her to win regardless of what you do. So it's not like you don't understand it, you're just being disingenuous.
But so Trump says you've got to respect the Electoral College. Okay. But a second part of the Electoral College, as Alexander Hamilton explained, by the way, a conservative hero, he explained, we put these electors into place so that they could make a last-minute decision that if there's someone who's grossly unqualified for office, they would vote for someone else. That is the whole point of the Electoral College. Otherwise, we could just have a democracy. So if you love the Electoral College when it comes to how it divvies up states, well, you can't turn around and say, well, I don't like the part about the electors. That's the whole point of the Electoral College.
Has anybody from the Trump campaign said that they don't agree with that part, Cenk?
So now some of these electors are saying, okay, well then I'm going to do what this whole thing was designed for. I'm not going to vote the way that to represent the person that my particular state said I should, because
you nearly did it, didn't you, Cenk? You nearly said one just before you stopped yourself. He won, Cenk. He won those states.
A lot of these are Democratic electors, actually. So why? I'll explain that in a second. But first, let me go to one of them, Levi Guerrero, who's 19 years old. It's always the young that lead revolutions. He said, I feel that it is my duty to cast my vote against Trump. Instead, I must vote for the person who I believe will be the best for my constituents and who has the greatest chance for unifying our country. So
this 19-year-old genius thinks that the best way to unite the country is to overturn the will of the people because he doesn't like what they said. Genius. What could possibly go wrong there?
Now, the state of Washington voted for Hillary Clinton, but what he's saying, and now what some group of electors are saying is, okay, it can't be Hillary Clinton because of the current situation that we have in politics, but it shouldn't be Donald Trump. He's not qualified. If we can get the Hillary Clinton electors, along with just 37 Republican electors, to vote for another Republican. So we're not trying to even get rid of the Electoral College result as it comes to which party won. But we're just saying it shouldn't be Trump, one, because we have according to the law, the leeway to do that. We have the discretion, and we were given that discretion to do that.
And what do these, and let's just say it, Cenk, Democrats, think is going to happen when they overturn the vote of all of those gun-toting, baseball-cap rednecks that we saw at the Trump rallies that turned out in their thousands to see him? It's not going to be pretty, is it, Cenk? It's going to be bad.
And secondly, because he didn't even win the popular vote. Larry Lessig wrote about this. He's like, well, I mean, if the Electoral College is worth anything, shouldn't it be people saying, okay, it's not that we're just making an independent decision that we don't like Trump. It's that he didn't win.
Yes, he did.
He lost by more than 2.5 million votes.
Again, Cenk, really, I'm starting to get really very bored of this now. He didn't lose by 2 million votes because it's irrelevant. He won the electoral colleges. Idiot.
So again, the Hamilton electors explain, electors have already come forward calling upon other electors from both red and blue states to unite behind a responsible Republican candidate for the good of the nation. So Alternate explains, in Washington state alone, Guerrero is the third electoral college member to become a, quote, faithless elector. Similarly, 4 electors from Colorado have already pledged to do the same. Now, those are Democratic electors. So they're saying, instead of Hillary Clinton, we're willing to vote for another Republican. The question now is, will there be any Republican electors who come out and go, nope, you guys are right. He didn't win the election. We're going to keep it in the Republican Party, but we will vote with the Democratic electors on another Republican, not Trump. Now, remember, there was a Never Trump campaign. Now, a lot of you might think this is a great idea. Some of you might not like the idea, but it is possible within the rules, and some Democratic electors have already said they will do it. My guess is very soon there'll be a Republican elector who says it. It's a big country, and there's a lot of electors out there. And once you have one, could you have more? And all those 37 would have to do is abstain. So you never know.
Just look at that smirk. Cenk can't wait to watch the country burn. It's ridiculous.
It ain't over till it's over. He's not president yet. So it's HamiltonElectors.com. That's just the information I'm giving you. And we'll see if any Republican electors come out, but my guess is they will. Now, whether they can marshal that up into enough people to swing the election, don't know yet. We'll have to see.
I certainly hope that they don't, Cenk, because if that happens, there is going to be bloodshed in your country. There is going to be violent repercussions to this. The people that voted for Trump appear to be not very well educated, to be the sort of people who would interpret your constitution to say that they have the right to bear arms, and the reason they have the right to bear those arms is to overthrow the government if they feel it doesn't represent them. It is not going to be a pretty end to this story if this is what happens, Cenk. I'm not quite sure why you're so gleeful in the thought of it happening. Surely you can see the repercussions. The Hamilton electors, of course, do have the legal right to do this. I question whether the motivation is to unite the country, as it clearly would not unite the country. I tend to think that the motivation for this is just that they're massively butthurt that Hillary lost to this man. They obviously still do not understand the political atmosphere of the masses. And as I say, I think the repercussions for this will be massive. So I will be watching it closely. So there's my first video. The editing's awful, the sound's crap, my microphone is a webcam that I'm holding in my hand. I will invest in some better equipment at some point in the future, but for now this is as good as it's going to get. Hopefully my editing will get a bit better, and let's see.